Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia to share a contemplative focus with you. And the focus that I really want to share with you today is the struggle to stay focused. Most people find it hard to maintain focus because we're naturally influenced by the overwhelming and chaotic nature of the world around us. Our attention gets pulled in many directions, leaving us scattered and distracted. The lack of focus creates a fragmented experience of life, like being caught in a fog of shallow awareness, unable to connect with deeper meaning. Without that sense of depth, we miss the essence of life, where the truth and joy of living as one connected consciousness can be found. And if that's true today, it's more true than ever because we have an unending access to that chaotic world, the world of negativity, the world of illusion, where everything is interpreted from an egocentric perspective and it's fear based. So we get negativity constantly, and we have a phone in our hands, and we have a computer screen in front of us almost all the time. And so we're accessing this world, this frenetic world of overload and interpretive uh, commentary on the world and events in that world as we see it. And this constant influx of negativity and the lack of depth of it creates a pattern in your mind that stays with you. And it's not a pleasant pattern. It's one that can be disruptive and chaotic within yourself. Has a negative impact on you, and why would you want that when you have a choice? I know that one of my favorite parts of my day is just the opposite, to unplug and to be in a quiet space, to get myself physically comfortable and to meditate for about an hour, where there is nothing distractive, and I enter into a deeper state of awareness. I'm reminded of the truth of who I am, of my being, and how joyful that is in and of itself. So this is a experience that I have cultivated for many years. When I was first when I first experienced my truth, which was not something I did, it was something that happened, I was overwhelmed with the joy that I experienced in that. The truth of who I am and who you are is unbelievably joyful. So, and of course, I started to drift back into my habit afterwards, and immediately decided I had to start meditating because that was the only thing I could do that created focus. And with that focus, I was tapping into that essence and that truth more and more. And eventually, I discovered synchronicity meditation, and once I did, I went for it because it gave me a more consistent focus and a more consistent experience of my truth and that joy that I have that only increases with focus. So today, the world that we live in today, when I was first meditating, it didn't exist then. There was no internet. There was no computers were rare. They just started to appear on the scene, and so people were naturally living a more focused life simply because they didn't have access to so much distraction. And most of the distraction would be in form of books, which is a lot less chaotic in some senses. It's not so quite as fragmented as watching a screen on your phone or on your computer. And so the world was a quieter place. It was still had its negativity and fear, of course. But as you go through your experiences of life, and if you start to meditate, which we hope you do, you're evolving yourself to a more peaceful state of being. And you're bringing yourself to that experience of your inner being where that peace lies. You know, it's there right now, irregardless of what your experience is. Your truth is your truth, and it can never be anything other than that. But you must choose to go there. You must choose focus as opposed to fragmentation. And it's difficult at first, I know that. It's not something you can accomplish overnight, although I know that using the synchronicity technology that's embedded in our meditation technology it guarantees you that you're going to meditate, that you're going to have that experience because it's powerful and it works always. You'll know that because if you ever try it, you'll have a deeper experience than you ever had as a non-meditator. But I chose it because it was so easy and consistent, and it constantly took me into the depth of my own being, and I couldn't ask for more than that. And I've never been sorry that I made that choice. That's why I've spent the last 40 years or so of my life here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary, because I have experienced the benefits of such a lifestyle, and I would not want to do anything else but help those who would make similar choices in their life, and to be around people who are making those choices, because we celebrate lives, our lives, more so than you will find in other places, let's say. So to have a focus, to be able to focus and be able to maintain a focus comes with practice like anything else. And that practice is one that you will never know the value of it until you do it. And if you're not focused, and I know in my early meditation attempts, before I discovered synchronicity and I was out there trying to meditate, there were days when I was severely challenged in that, because it was difficult even back then to sit for an hour and try to meditate without something to help me develop that brainwave pattern with consistency, which is what our technology does. And so as you listen to this little broadcast here and about the struggle to stay focused, I think it's pretty evident from what you can see around you that this is something occurring more and more in our world. And the information that's out there that most people are subjecting themselves to unconsciously is very negative and fear-based. And it's where the illusion is, it's if you acclimate yourself to a constant input of that's what you're going to get. If you acclimate yourself to meditation, if you acclimate yourself to developing focus, a positive focus, which is what meditation is, then you'll get something very different, something that's indescribable, and it cannot be understood until you are touched by it. You touch yourself, you touch the depth of your own being when you meditate, and there's nothing more joyful than that. Even though it may be difficult at first, it may be some struggle, there's a struggle right now. If you're not focused, if you can't focus, everything is a struggle. And I've seen this in people who cannot work well or live well because they can't maintain any kind of a consistent positive focus in themselves. And that's reflected in their life. It's reflected in how they act and what kind of a world they see, and in their end result of their experiences, which are usually not all that great. I've been there. We've all been there. We usually start there, and then we wake up, hopefully, and we do something about it. We have the power to make that choice. We have the technology to make that choice, which is also relatively new in the world today. And making that choice and diving into it would be one of the most gratifying moves that you could ever possibly make. It doesn't have to be synchronicity, but any kind of meditation that works for you, that brings you to touch yourself, to your inner being, is what it's all about. It's not about just synchronicity, although I know ours works because I use it. So the struggle to stay focused is an ongoing struggle, and it's getting harder and harder because the opportunity and the, shall we say, the inertia created by a frenetic world is very, very strong, and it's easy to get pulled into that as the be all and end all of what's happening, to take that for a reality, the ultimate reality of life as a human being, because it's so easy to stay there and to suffer with it unknowingly, unconsciously. But if you're lucky enough, if you're tired of a lack of focus, I suggest and I recommend meditation as a lifestyle you want to pursue, because that's the answer. That's how you develop focus. And once you get a little bit of focus after you've practiced meditation for a while, you'll realize the differences in yourself. You'll be able to experience yourself in a more positive way, and that will be reflected in your life. It will be reflected by the people you interact with, because they will notice that too. I know where I live here at the sanctuary, our interactions, our daily interactions with anyone who comes here is so much different than what I was accustomed to before I came here, and living in the normal world, as we say. And it's not as frenetic by any means at all. It's busy. Doesn't mean we don't do anything. I'm very busy every day doing things. But within that doing, there is a consistent experience of being that has developed by my own practice of meditation and a holistic lifestyle that supports meditation and the results of it. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. The struggle to stay focused is a never-ending struggle until you choose focus. And the only focus that I would recommend is that of meditation, where the focus is yourself, the truth of yourself, not some fantasy, not some illusion about who you are or what life is, but rather to not think about it. Open yourself to the experience of it without the mind trying to run you ragged to maintain its status quo, shall we say. So until, it might be a week or two before I come back on with another contemplative focus, simply because we have a couple programs coming up and also the holidays and whatnot, so we'll see. I'll be back here as soon as I can, though, because I enjoy this little sharing that I do, and I hope that somebody gets something positive out of that. So until then, I bid you adieu, and I thank you so much for being here and developing some focus in that. Okay? So until next time, I thank you once again for watching today.